For me, coming out into the bush, that's my most happiest place in the whole wide world. If you want to be stress-free, just come out here.
I started probably 25, 30 years ago. I carry on with the traditional harvesting of the cedar bark, and I supply the weavers, I supply the friendship centers, the schools, even a prison in Saanich I supply cedar bark to. For trees that are around my fingertips is the right size tree. It's 50 years old.
So everything from houses, canoes, transportation, clothing, baby diapers, everything was made from cedar. The survival of our people depended on this tree. Everything from birth to death, it was an integral part of our lives. And so we refer to her as the tree of life. And she has a very, very important significance to me in my life. The spiritual component of cedar, she has the ability to absorb our energy. So our spiritual energy, our physical energy, the thoughts that we're thinking, the emotions that we feel, all become imbued into that medicine.
I had come clean over 24 years ago, and I think that's when I first started realizing how important cedar was to our culture. It has become very important in my life. They say feed your body and soul and mind.
The boughs of the cedar, for cedar brushing, the boughs would take off anything that our bodies are not needing and that we're ready to let go of.
The negative energy from you, as you call upon the ancestors, when you're brushing a person and you talk in our language and you ask the Creator and our ancestors to watch over that person, make sure that everything will become good for that person, take all the negative energy away that's in that person.
The cedars are dying, and I notice every year, every summer, the boughs get a little bit more brown. You can't cedar brush with dead cedar boughs, and you can't weave with bark that from a dead cedar tree. It's the foundation and a cornerstone of our culture. And so when I see these cedar trees dying, because they thrive in a rainforest and our climate is rapidly changing into something different, it's like we're witnessing the beginning of the end of our culture. There's an incredible deep grief that's hard to put words to. Oftentimes people see trees as a resource. We as Indigenous people, we don't see the trees. The cedars are not a resource. These are our relatives, and we are the land and the land is us, and our wellness is 100% connected to the wellness of the land. And when the land is suffering and the land is dying, our spirits feel that.
Dad had a different way. He didn't believe in the church, for one. I guess he was trying to tell me that the future was going to be bleak. And then that even included the cedar for him, because towards the end he was having a really hard time finding cedar to use to build dugouts. By the time he would finish with the cedar dugouts, it was just so light to row around, and it was just because my brother and his friends used to be able to have some boats, canoe races out here in the front with the dugouts, and it was just Dad's dugout would always win, so that was meant. You could just see the pride in his face, that he built that dugout, In my memory of my father, the pride that he took in whatever he built and whatever he did, and his teachings, whatever he taught me, kind of sticks with me today, because he said in our language, Kwakwaka'wakw, he was saying that there's really nothing left here, probably on the island, or what, because he used to go in the canoe and go scout out around this area, trying to look around for cedar, I guess, for another dugout. But he said there's just nothing. He said, way back in then, he said, there's just no more seed for him to be able to use. As you look around you, he says, and you could see what's happening, and that was, oh God.
This 5 or 6 day stretch of hot weather, the cedar will start to dry on the tree. So when we get close to pulling the bark, we'll show you the moisture, And then pretty soon the sun will dry it up, and then I can't peel. So I'm worried about this climate change. I think my season's only probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Last year, it was literally $4,000 a cord for cedar. And the cord's not really that big, 4 by 4 by 8. So the cedar trees require a lot of moisture, a lot of rain for them to grow properly. You'll see the brown on the cedar trees. The young cedar trees, the leaves are brown because they're dying, not enough moisture. Now, all this is going down. This will be just bare when you come back probably. There's a lot of restrictions on the old growth. Our people are trying to save the old growth, but they're just gonna log it because they can't really touch the big cedars. So now they're going after the small stuff for the pulp. Well, when I'm driving down the highway or even here, you'll notice there's some red ribbons on your right and left side when you're going out. And the red ribbons, wherever the knot's facing, that's where they're gonna fall. So that's a logging trick I learned. They're gonna log it 3 and 4 years ago. There was a batch just by the highway where we turned, and you'll see it when you're going out. There's a big clear space. Okay, well, help yourself, the logging company said, which was beautiful for us.
It's getting harder and harder. Even like where we were yesterday, that's all going to be gone. All of that is going to be gone. And where we went the year before, we can't get in there now. That's all gone. Everything slowly, everywhere. There's not going to be much left for us. It makes me sad. Even though you have the little ones coming up and you're bringing them out and you show them everything, by the time they hit an age and they're going to go out, there's nothing going to be out there for them. We have to have respect for these trees. These trees are a part of our life, and so they give to us. We have to give back to the trees by giving them the respect. And like one of these trees that was just pulled like yesterday, there's a certain width that you can pull off of a tree. If you pull too much more, you'll kill the tree. Like right now, where this one's at right now, you'll see in a moment, that's as much as you want to take off the tree. And then it's going to heal itself. And then everyone anywhere won't ever touch this tree again. All weavers are respectful of these trees.
And so we support youth to resist the spirit of suicide through the land and their culture. And so one of the things we do is we introduce them to the medicine of cedar through cedar brushing ceremonies, and then we also teach them how to weave a wellness basket. And when I'm doing that work with the youth, I do let them know that this is a resource that is dying. There may come a time in our future where our great-grandchildren don't have access to this medicine, and just to really deeply appreciate the gift it is to be able to work with the spirit of this incredibly generous medicine that has given our people so much since the beginning of time. Trying to ignite that awareness of how important it is, but that there may come a time that we don't have access to it. And I hope that that's not the case. That that's not the case for our young ones.
I had my little 10-year-old and 12-year-old out in the bush peeling with me, and I show them how. I bring the kids out, they'll pull little strips, they'll get the hang of it, the knack of it. Somebody asked me that question years ago. Mako, how do you do that? Pass it on to your kids? I said, hands-on, I show them. Val and I are the only two out here today. The other weavers and that, they're not coming out as much as they used to. They're all crying the blues that they can't find it, but I find it. I just look and look and look. Sometimes I spend 2 or 3 days just driving around looking, watching for the red ribbons.